Close your eyes. The sounds of the outside world slowly fade away. That time begin to flow backward with you. Now there are no modern cities, no lights, no rush. Only warm sand carried by the wind, the sound of water in the distance, and a civilization that fell asleep thousands of years ago. Tonight, when the world falls asleep, we are guests in a night in ancient Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, the land where humanity took its first steps, stretching between two great rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. Two ancient streams that carry not only water but also time. As night falls on these lands, the sky is much darker than it is today, but the stars are much brighter. And now, we are walking towards a quiet evening of an ordinary person who lived thousands of years ago. In ancient Mesopotamia, life begins with the sun and slows down with the sun. The houses are made of mud bricks. The walls are thick. The window, everything has been thought of to protect against the heat. At night, the inside of the house is cool. The earth slowly releases the heat it holds throughout the day. Families usually live around the same courtyard. Children sleep on the floor, on mats. Adults lean in. The silence is not disturbing as it is today, but rather reassuring. When the sun has completely disappeared, small fires are lit. The fire is not just for warmth. The fire is for stories. It is for memories. It is for talking about the gods. For the Mesopotamians, the world is not just what it seems. There is a spirit in every river, a god in every storm. And at night, the gods are closer. People's life. Most people are farmers. They live with the land. They sleep with the land. The crops are not watered during the day. The canals continue to flow silent. The sound of water is heard throughout the night. This sound is like people fear the water being cut off, because if there is no water, there is no life. That's why in Mesopotamia, sleep is also a prayer. Writing and knowledge. Some houses have clay tablets. They have cuneiform writing on them. These are not fairy tales. Debts, trade agreements, prayer texts. Writing is still sacred. Not everyone can write. The person who writes is respected even in the silence of the night. The sky and belief. The Mesopotamian night speaks with the sky. The moon is very important. The moon god Sin is the protector of the night. The stars are not just light, they are signs. They whisper the future. A child sleeps looking at an old man remembers the past looking at the same stars. Time is cyclical here. There is no hurry. Later in the night, the fires die down. The sounds fade. Only the wind and water remain. While people sleep, the world of the gods is awake, and Mesopotamia falls asleep for one more night. The descent of night on the city. As the sun sets behind the horizon, Mesopotamian cities slowly change. The streets, crowded during the day, become simpler in the evening. Steps decrease, voices soften. In cities like Uruk, and Lagash, the walls are still warm. Mud brick stones bear the mark of the day. Night does not come it settles in gradually, make the fabric of the city and the rhythm of life. The streets are narrow and winding. There is a reason for this. Shadow. This structure, which protects from the heat during the day, provides coolness at night. The doors of the houses close early. The bolts of the wooden doors are silent. Life slows down inside. The city is like a body preparing to sleep. Hawk marks and the final movements of the evening. As sunset approaches, the last shopping is done in the markets. Sacks of grain are collected. Water jugs are filled. Date bread is distributed. Merchants settle the day's accounts. Clay tablets are taken out. Numbers are drawn. Evening is time to settle accounts. Night watchman. Mesopotamian cities are not entirely silent. There are watchmen who patrol at night. They protect the city's sleep. They carry simple spears in their hands and small lamps at their waists. Every step echoes, but this echo does not frighten. On the contrary, it gives reassurance. The watchman's voice means everything is all right. Hort of Nair's evening life in homes. Inside the homes, the evening hours pass simply. There are no long tables. There is no ostentation. A bowl of food, a piece of bread, a sip of water, then silence. The adults lean against the wall. The children listen. The stories told are conveyed, not aloud. You stories and memories in Mesopotamia, stories belong to the night. They speak of ancestors, of great floods, of the wrath of the gods, of the fertility of the land. These stories are not told to frighten. They are for teaching. Each narrative brings one step closer to sleep. Who? The place of agriculture at night. Fields are important at night too, because water flows at night as well. The sound of the canals comes from outside the city walls. This sound reminds us that life goes on. A farmer, before falling asleep, thinks about tomorrow's water turn. Plans are made at night. Perception of time. For the Mesopotamians, night is not an empty time. Night is a time for thinking, a time for remembering, a time for preparing. Sleep is not an escape, but as eyes close, yesterday is left behind, tomorrow silently approaches, a deepening calm. As the hours pass, the city almost comes to a standstill. Only the wind, only the water, only a distant footstep, and Mesopotamia once again is enveloped in a deep silence. The structure rising above the city. As darkness falls on the cities of Mesopotamia, one structure always stands out: the temple. Houses are low, the streets are narrow, but temples are tall. Ziggurats are not just architecture, they are intentions reaching towards the sky. When night falls, while the city sleeps, the temple remains awake. Heat temple lights. At night, the temple is not completely dark. Small fires burn inside. These fires are not for warmth, but for sustenance. The fire does not go out, because fire is a symbol of the connection with God. Priests wait silently by the flame. How the priest's night routine. Priests do not speak loudly at night. Their steps are slow. Their breathing is controlled. Night is a time of attention for them. The prayers made during the day are repeated at night, but simpler, shorter, more heartfelt. Clay tables and knowledge. There is not only worship in the temples, there is knowledge. Clay tablets are stacked on shelves. The movements of the stars, lunar cycles, seasonal calculations. At night, these tablets are reviewed because the sky is clearer in the dark. The sky and the search of meaning. Mesopotamians look at the sky. They look for a long time. The stars are not ornaments for them. They are messages. Priests note the changes in the positions of the stars. Every movement is a sign, but these signs do not create fear. They teach order. The people's relationship with the temple. The people do not enter the temple at night, but they feel its presence. A mother's prayer is whispered from behind the closed door. A merchant's intention is made by looking at the sky. The temple is unreachable but near. The tone of night prayers. Daytime prayers are demanding. Night prayers are accepting. Give is not said. "I understand" is said. That's why the night is comforting. People lighten their burden. The temple and sleep. The priest who leaves the temple does not mingle with the city. He withdraws directly to rest, because at night it works the mind, not the body. The transition to sleep is the final part of the ritual. The silence deepens. As the hour passes, the fire in the temple diminishes. The stars remain in their positions. The city breathes. Mesopotamia with its gods begins. When the sun completely sets, life in Mesopotamia doesn't end. It just slows down. A flow begins from the streets to the houses. This isn't a rushed return. The pace of the day has already tired people. There are short pauses and a momentary glance, a final attention to the color of the sky. Then they go inside. The structure and feeling of the houses. Mesopotamian houses are not spacious, but they are protective. Mud brick walls have retained the heat of the day and softened the coolness of the night. These houses don't completely block out the outside world, but they don't let its noise in. The slow use of light. Inside the houses, the light is never excessive. A lamp is lit, sometimes one, sometimes two. This light illuminates not the walls of the people. Faces remain in semi-shadow, but this darkness doesn't disturb, because darkness is not a family evening routine. Family members gather in the same room, but not everyone does the same thing. One person lies down in a corner, another sits quietly. Children shake off the day's fatigue more quickly. Conversations are short. Long sentences are not used. There is no need to recount the day. Everyone was already there. The meaning of dinner. Dinner is not ostentatious, but it is familiar. It is well known. Bread is shared. Soup is drunk slowly. Movements are not rushed. This meal is as much about filling the stomach as it is about preparing the body for sleep. Movement inside the house. Items are gathered, but cleaning isn't done hastily. A bowl is set aside. A tablecloth is straightened. Everything is as it should be. Night doesn't like excess. Children and sleep. Children are the first to approach sleep. For them, night doesn't carry long thoughts. A blanket, a corner, a warmth is enough. Eyes grow. Sounds become blurred. Sounds inside the houses. There is no absolute silence in Mesopotamian houses, but there are no sharp noises either. A breath, the rustling of a bed, the gentle ticking of a lamp. These sounds remind one that they are not alone. The nighttime state of adults. Adults don't immediately surrender to sleep. Short thoughts come, but there are no long questions. The future is not the subject of the night. The night is only for letting go of the present. The integration of the city with its houses. As the houses fall silent one by one, the city breathes as one body. Mesopotamia experiences the night together. No one is completely awake. As night progresses through Mesopotamia, the city slowly closes in on itself. But this closing is not sudden. It doesn't happen like a door slamming shut. It's more like a heavy veil being slowly laid down. First, the sounds diminish, then the footsteps become less frequent. Finally, the lights disappear one by one. But the city doesn't completely fall asleep. The rhythm that keeps the night alive. Mesopotamian cities are as accustomed to night as they are today, because life in these lands is not built solely on the sun. Nights carry the echoes of the work done during the day. The walls store what they heard throughout the day in the night. The streets don't leave traces of people, but they feel their presence. Therefore, night is not emptiness, the silent movement in the streets. From time to time, a shadow appears in the narrow streets. This is not a merchant, nor is it a traveler. This is someone who bears the responsibility of the night. His steps are measured, his walk is not fast but relentless. It's as if he's traversing not the streets, but time itself. At every corner turned, the city is rechecked. At every stop, the walls are examined. Hard gates, walls, and waiting. The city gates are open during the day, but at night, the gates don't just close physically. Another order begins. The guards watch not only the outside, but also the inside. There is no fear in this waiting. There is no haste. There is only attention. An attention where time flows slowly. Path the roll of fire in the night. Some hearths are not extinguished, because fire is not only for food, but also for balance. The complete extinguishing of the fire indicates that the night has become very deep. That's why someone stirs the ashes, adds wood, keeps the embers alive. These silent actions keep the city's pulse steady. The deepening silence in ancient Mesopotamia. As night progresses, time begins to flow differently in the cities of Mesopotamia. Darkness is no longer new. People have become accustomed to it. Eyes become able to distinguish. Ears pick out even the slightest sound. At this hour, the city completely disconnects from the day. But it does not yet belong to the morning. It is a time caught in between. The city's inward turn. The interiors of the houses are now quieter. Conversations have ceased. Pots have been put back in their places. The courtyards are empty, but this silence does not arise from weariness. This is a conscious withdrawal. People, as if shedding the weight of the day from their shoulders, let themselves into the night, behind the walls of the houses. Behind the thick mud walls, life does not completely stop. A child turns in their sleep. An old person slowly sits up, and a mother slightly reduces the wick of a lamp. These small movements show that the city is still alive. But no one hurries. No one tries to get anything done. The limited language of light. Night light is not generous, but it is enough. The yellow tone emitted by a lamp does not illuminate the whole room. It only shows what is necessary. This is a light that is free from excesses. The eye does not seek detail. The mind is at ease, a different life in the streets. As people withdraw, another life begins. Silent steps, movements that are not fast but careful. Animals claim the night. For them, these hours are not secret. It is natural. The order of the city continues, even when people... The deepening silence in ancient Mesopotamia. As night progresses, time begins to flow differently in the cities of Mesopotamia. Darkness is no longer new. People have become accustomed to it. Eyes become able to distinguish. Ears pick out even the slightest sound. At this hour, the city completely disconnects from the day. But it does not yet belong to the morning. It is a time caught in between. The city's inward turn. The interiors of the houses are now quieter. Conversations have ceased. Pots have been put back in their places. The courtyards are empty, but this silence does not arise from weariness. This is a conscious withdrawal. People, as if shedding the weight of the day from their shoulders, let themselves into the night, behind the walls of the houses. Behind the thick mud walls, life does not completely stop. A child turns in their sleep. An old person slowly sits up, and a mother slightly reduces the wick of a lamp. These small movements show that the city is still alive. But no one hurries. No one tries to get anything done. The limited language of light. Night light is not generous, but it is enough. The yellow tone emitted by a lamp does not illuminate the whole room. It only shows what is necessary. This is a light that is free from excesses. The eye does not seek detail. The mind is at ease, a different life in the streets. As people withdraw, another life begins. Silent steps, movements that are not fast but careful. Animals claim the night. For them, these hours are not secret. It is natural. The order of the city continues, even when people are not there. The nighttime state of the temples. Temples are crowded during the day, but at night they take on a completely different identity. The doors are closed. The courtyards are empty, but the structures listen to the night. The columns sense the direction of the wind. The walls follow the position of the moon. These structures were not built only for people. They also exist for time. The wind's path. In the later hours of the night, the wind changes direction. It feels cooler. It blows slower. This wind does not produce sound as it passes through the streets. It only makes its presence felt. It stirs the curtains. It touches the open doors. No one is bothered by this wind. Fun. The melting of time. Hours lose their meaning. It's impossible to know what time of night it is, but no one needs to know. These moments are uncalculated moments. Time ceases to be a line, and not those who stay awake. In every city, there are a few people who stay awake throughout the night. These are not special people, but they have a duty to wait, to observe, to maintain balance. They are the ones who are aware of the night, young, the center of the night. When the night reaches its calmest point, the city almost comes to a standstill. But this is not a standstill, it is a state of suspension. Everything waits in its place. This moment is the moment closest to sleep, per the first signs of morning. There is no light yet, but the darkness is not as deep as before. On the horizon, a very slight change begins. Not everyone notices this change, but the city feels it, rather than the threshold of a new cycle. The cities of Mesopotamia have experienced this cycle for thousands of years. It embraces the night, it prepares for the morning, and each time it continues with the same tranquility. Towards the end of the night in ancient Mesopotamia, when the city slows down, the world outside is still in motion. The spaces beyond the walls are more bound to the rhythm of nature. Here, time is measured not by hours, but by cycles. The true balance of Mesopotamia is felt precisely at this point. Night, the night state of the earth. The fields worked during the day are left silent throughout the night, but this silence does not mean emptiness. The earth slowly releases the warmth it absorbed during the day. This release balances the surrounding air. The crops appear motionless, but life continues within them. The continuity of water channels. In Mesopotamia, water never stops. Even in the late hours of the night, a gentle flow is felt along the channels. This flow does not belong to humans. It is the earth's own order. Water creates a silent connection between the city and the countryside. Our connection with the sky. As you move away from the city, the sky becomes more distinct. The stars appear brighter. The shadows are softer. This scenery doesn't force one to think. It simply makes one feel that it exists. Here, animals' nighttime behavior. At these hours, animals are calmer. Herds move slowly. There are no sudden reactions. A temporary balance is established. No one hurries. Roads and passages. Roads used during the day are almost empty at night, but they are not completely abandoned. Those coming from distant regions prefer these hours. They proceed silently. The steps are light enough not to damage the soil. Changes in perception of time. Outside the city, time feels more expansive. Minutes lose their importance. In these areas, the night is long but not heavy. Time does not constrict one. Changes in the air. As the night draws to a close, the air gains a gentle coolness. This coolness does not disturb, it only announces the approaching change. First signs of light. The sun has not yet risen, but the horizon line begins to change color. These colors are not sharp, the transitions are smooth. The night quietly recedes. Reflection on the city. This change reaches even inside the city walls. No one moves yet, but the new day is felt. Continuation of life. In Mesopotamia, life continues with this cycle. The night ends itself without straining. The day begins without haste, and everything falls back into its place. The quiet beginning of the day in ancient Mesopotamia, when everything is complete, nothing is actually finished. In Mesopotamia, time does not stand still at a point. It only changes direction. Night does not forcibly retreat. It slowly makes way. The touch of light, the brightness that appears on the horizon is not sharp. It does not disturb the eyes. It does not awaken the mind. It is as if even the light has learned not to rush. In these lands, the day always begins softly, the gentle awakening of the city. Inside the walls there is still no movement, but the air has changed. The stone structures release the coolness they accumulated during the night. This is like a sign for the city. A new cycle is about to begin. First steps. In the city streets, first footsteps are heard. There is no rush. These people don't force the day. They wait for time to catch up with them. Life settling in place. The fields prepare to become active again. The water channels continue their flow. The animals return to their usual routines. Everything stays where it should be. Things that remain in memory. For those who live in this city, every day is the same, but not identical. Every night is a little different from the previous one, but the feeling is always familiar, like the last breath. The last traces of the night dissipate in the air. The coolness remains. This coolness lightens the burden of the day, the power of the cycle. The power of Mesopotamia is not in its monuments. It is in its silently functioning order. This order has lasted and its traces have reached us today. Closing. Now, as these images slowly fade away, time will return to its flow. If your mind feels heavy, allow it, because this story was told precisely for this reason. If you've listened this far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in future stories.